Alright guys, part 3 of the twitch up snare. Let me set this camera up. So at this point, we basically have our cross section here. Relatively sturdy. I can always pound it in more to get it more stable. And I've got my second stick pounded into the ground. So I've got about 8 inches apart from the main crosshairs, crossbars. So what I'm going to do is take my length of manila fiber, my natural fiber, and tie it to the end of the sapling. So that I can stretch it down here. Then I've got my smaller stick, my 4 to 5 inch long stick, which I'm gonna size and determine where I want to tie it. And I think right here is gonna be the best bet. I have to take a water break here soon. It's getting pretty hot. Okay, so I got that. Next, what I'm gonna do is get my snare situated. And like I said, this is demonstration, guys. I'm not actually gonna use this trap. If I were to use this trap, I would basically make sure that I descented the trap parts, and I camouflaged the trap parts, and I was using a bit of a thicker cord for the actual snare. And this is just a demonstration, so I'm not really putting a lot of effort into it, but I want to show you guys how to do this trap. Next thing you're going to want to do, I'm going to knot the end of this cordage so that it doesn't fray or come apart, and I'm going to just do a simple snare. For those of you that don't know the snare, so I've knotted the end of this manila fiber. I'm gonna run the end of this around, and then what I'm gonna do the same thing. So I made a loop, then I'm gonna do it around again on the second loop. And as you can see, it's just a slip knot within a slip knot. And I'm going to tighten that to about the width of my finger. And then we have it. We have a snare. So now let me set this. Like I said, you're going to want to size everything. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is kind of just carve down my trigger stick. And one thing to note, what you're going to want to do with any trigger stick, so basically this is where the bait's going to go. It's going to be about a pencil thin sapling, and at the ends what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully get them with my knife or piece of flint, whatever you have, and I'm going to get that to a nice point. This reduces the surface area, so we have the trigger stick and we have the actual mechanism that when this trigger stick drops from the bait being pulled, that triggers the trap. So by carving this down, we reduce the surface area on the trigger stick, which makes it more sensitive. So we do this to both ends. So now, let me just size it and see where I'm at. It's still a little still a little too long. So let me just carve it down a bit more. And now I can set the trap. Oops. Sorry guys, I'll be with you in a second. All right, so that's the trap that we got set up. And I'll just let you sit on there. So we have the sapling, it's bent down. We have two main cordages. The first one is the snare, which we need to elevate a bit more to get that perfect shape. We have a crossbar, we have a trigger stick, as you can see. Now we obviously would bait beforehand, and once that animal is forced to put its head over the snare to get the bait, we get success. And let me just demonstrate this. Let me find something I can, actually I'll just use my hand. So animal comes around, bites the bait, pulls up the snare. And as you can see, the sapling's not too strong, so it would actually hold the animal on the ground like this. But this forces the snare around the neck, and it tightens as it goes. The animal struggles, so it tightens. And this actually will get everything situated. All right, guys, well, hopefully you learned something from that video. It was kind of hard with this iPhone 6 to produce good film. So hopefully you learned something. This is a really good trap, you know, twitch up snare. It takes about 30 minutes to build, and you can spend half a day setting these up as long as you have some sort of bait. And you know, like I said, with opossums and raccoons, they're omnivores, they'll eat pretty much anything. So anyways, that's the trap. And like I said, only practice these traps unless you have some sort of special permission from the government to use these traps, because if you get caught, it is a felony. So just be careful. All right, guys, well, take care and have a good one. Aaron out.